Hey everybody, welcome back to Riverwalk Talk. My name is Chip Harrington. I'm over here in Ludlow on the Riverwalk, and one thing I can say about Ludlow that we do really well, and I actually had our Director of Veteran Services on a while ago, Eric Segundo, is that I'm really proud of the fact that we really support our veterans and people who have served in the military in Ludlow, and really all of the communities all around us have done a great job, but specifically, give a shout out to Eric over there. If you drive up and down East Street, you see the honor flags that we have recognizing members of the military that have served throughout all different years. I got an individual that's going to be talking to me today that's a Ludlow guy, grew up here, went to high school here, and then joined the service and kind of got into that special operators community. So anybody who's been in the military, you certainly know that there's all sorts of different jobs, right? My son's was in the military. My daughter-in-law is still in the military. And, he worked civil engineering, doing some work like that, got a great skill, has his own business now. But a real tight, interesting community is kind of special operators. Those are the people that are kind of first in. You don't even know that they're there until they're probably on their way back out. And this person we're going to talk to today, did that for a good number of years, over 20-something years as an Army Ranger, which is a real high level of training. So I went to high school with this guy, and he just happens to be back in town. So I said, hey man, come on over and see if you can talk on the Riverwalk. And that's my buddy Drue Loiselle. How you doing?
Chip? How you doing, buddy?
Good, man. Great to see you. So I know that you've seen our little show here before.
Yes, I have.
So we start here, walk over to the clock tower. This is the new, have you been back here before? Well, I know you've been.
I haven't done the walk.
You haven't done this.
I haven't seen this whole area.
But the whole mills are being all,
Yep.
because when we were growing up, this was off limits. We were never allowed back here.
Well, legally.
Well, legally, right. Actually, physically where we are right now, the treshel's right over there. I'm sure we've all jumped off that before. So let's get going, man. Thanks for accepting my invitation to come over and do this.
You bet.
So I have to warn everybody with this. We're gonna walk nice and slow because sometimes as we walk and talk, we get out of breath. So
okay.
we're gonna take it easy. You're not a 22-year-old Ranger anymore, so we got to keep
this
that
is a fact.
into account. So when I think of Drue Loiselle, we played football together. I was class of 86, class of 87, and I don't know why, but on the football field, I think you were a tailback.
I was a tailback and fullback, yes.
Yeah, tailback and fullback. So you and Jimmy Parker, Jimmy's an amazing athlete still
Absolutely.
To this day. But I recall when I was on the field with you, you kind of had this you ran downhill no matter where you were going. You were running hard, shoulders down, and take on anything that was coming your way. So obviously,
I definitely feel that now.
Yeah, right. Obviously, the coaches recognize that because you were put into that position. But I have this mental picture of you kind of just running right through the line, and then usually running into a pretty large linebacker waiting for you.
The seniors definitely let me know that one.
Yeah, exactly. So, you went to Ludlow, and then I just kind of give a quick little intro about how you joined the Army and got into that special operators community there. What did you always know that you wanted to join the military?
Absolutely not. In this town, one of the last things that actually happened, at least when we were growing up, 99% of the folks go to college.
Yeah.
And it's not really a consideration for the military. So I gave my shot at college, and this wasn't for me.
Okay. So. Where'd you go?
Hoyle Community College.
Okay. I went there too.
And I didn't find it very interesting. So I talked to some folks, the Holman family. There's some military background there, and they suggested Airborne Rangers. So I went downtown, Springfield, and got a contract and joined Airborne Rangers. So I was Airborne Ranger undersigned, went through selection.
So even before you had to basic boot camp, you could sign up for a contract right into the Airborne Rangers?
I did. I had a sign-up contract. It was a $2,500 bonus to go into the Airborne Rangers. And so you still had to go through basic and then the infantry basic, and then into the advanced infantry skills, and then airborne school. Then you go to selection for Rangers, and then once you pass that, then you get assigned to a battalion, which is either Benning, Fort Stewart, or out at Washington State and Fort Lewis.
So obviously you knew right from the rip that Rangers are, like I said before, you're kind of first in, sometimes last out, kind of the special operators there. Was that what was most appealing about that to you? Was it just the adventure, kind of the excitement of it?
Absolutely. From my understanding, it was the best of the best, and I wasn't going to mess around with tinkering around the edges. So
Yeah.
I thought I'd go for it and see, test my metal.
There you go. Did you ever give consideration to like, the SEAL community or Delta Force or anything?
Actually,
like that?
I did, but I did want to go SEALs first because most of my family on the Loiselle side was
Navy.
Navy, Annapolis and everything. So
Oh.
to their disappointment, I didn't go Navy. And that was because the SEALs, you had to spend a few years at that time in the regular Navy.
Right.
Before you could even try out for the SEALs. And I found that very unappealing.
You want to get right to it.
Yes.
Yeah. Very, very, just not very, we're going to wait around for anything. So tell us about the process there. So obviously you do basic. So in the research I've done, there's kind of 3 major components to becoming a ranger as far as training goes.
So back then in 1988, it was about a 2.5, 3 week selection process. And all it was just to see who had the mettle to stick around. There wasn't much training behind it. And so when you got done with that, you couldn't be broken. So then you go off to Ranger Battalion, do your time there for a while. Then you go to what's called Ranger School. And that's usually after you're about an E3. Mm-hmm. You come back, you get picked up for E4, and then you move on from there.
How many years in are you at this point?
At this time, well, I had about, let's see, so 89 was when the Panama invasion happened. Mm-hmm. All 3 battalions jumped into the Panama invasion.
You were a part of that?
Yes. So that was December 20th, 1989. So at that point, I had about a year and a half. And then immediately following that, I went to Ranger School. And then I ended up coming up here for leave after that on Memorial Weekend.
Yeah. So as far you mentioned before that, the training itself, kind of where they're really testing the metal. How many people, men, started versus how many finished when you got into that?
We probably started about 100 folks, and I think probably maybe 17, 18 at the end of it.
Seriously?
Yeah.
Wow. Okay, that's impressive. How many times did you say, okay, today's the day did you ever give that consideration? Today's the day I'm tapping out? No?
Nah, I don't think I've ever done that because there was always somebody that would quit before me, and I'd be like, I knew I was better than that guy.
Yeah.
And so it always give me a little bit more juice to keep going.
Wow. Wow, that's impressive. So, okay, I don't know if you can talk about these things, but the Panama, when you jumped into Panama, what was going through your head and something like that? What were you ready for?
Well, we trained so realistically during the whole time I was in Ranger Regiment that by the time we went to Panama, I was like, this is just another.
Really?
It's just another operation. It was literally nothing different, except that we exited out of the aircraft at 450 feet, and I don't know why we had reserves, because you couldn't possibly.
Not a chance that's going to open up for you.
It's not going to open. I think it takes 700 feet or something like that for a reserve to even open. So that was kind of, but now it wasn't until the doors opened over Rio Hato that I was like, and I was the second guy on the door. And the ZSUs, they were opening fire, anti-aircraft guns, and we're about the 11th bird in. And you can hear the popping in the plane and stuff, and it was like, all right, yeah, I think I need to want to get out of here.
It's kind of real now,
Get me on the ground.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I was pretty excited to get out.
Yeah. And how many people, how many Rangers involved in that?
Ooh, let's see, maybe about 1,200 between all 3 battalions, yeah.
Wow. Okay, so
they're jumping in all over the country, so.
Sure, yeah, exactly. So, and then you said like that same year you came back here Memorial Day weekend.
Right after Ranger School. So little thing I'll always carry with me is, so I just graduated Ranger School. I just jumped into Panama invasion, and Black Beret and everything like that. I'm cruising through this Memorial portion of town.
Right downtown here, yeah.
And there's a guy in a uniform with a Black Beret on, silver hair, just leaning over, praying or something. I slammed on the brakes. I was like, oh my goodness. And I got to meet him and everything like that. He was a Point to Hawk Ranger from Ludlow. So I've been trying to look him up. I can't find him, but I think his last name is Alves.
Okay, more than likely, yeah.
And he invited me to link up with the VFW here. And I got to carry the flag in, and I think that was May of
91,
90.
90?
Yeah.
So,
That had been May 90.
so throughout the Memorial Day Parade, you carried the flag and went over to the bridge where we dropped the wreaths over?
Yep.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah. So that was pretty cool.
That's very cool. Yeah, very, very cool. But it must have been a little bit surreal. Here you are, you grew up in Ludlow, you do your thing, you're part of this invasion. Now you're back in town and you're kind of like, I've done something different than a lot of other people in this town. I don't know how many special operators actually have ever been from town. You know?
I've tried to look it up. Now I know of a former Special Forces group commander, Rob Cannell. He's out of Wilbraham. And then we had a fellow pass away in 2019 out of 7th Special Forces group, Figueroa. Master Sergeant Figueroa passed away in 2019 in Afghanistan. He was buried in Agawam. He grew up in Chicopee. So that's about the closest I can find. I'm sure after this, some guy's going to come out of the woodwork and go, "You son of a gun, I live here."
Yeah,
so,
no, that's...
Which will be great for me.
But it really is. I mean, it's a tight community, I would imagine. I mean, you brothers for life, right? That you probably have served with, in that, you know, you guys have seen and done and kind of been through so much that it's family.
Yep. Yeah, that's a fact. I mean, I haven't seen some guys for like 20 years, and we just pick up like we met yesterday.
Right. And there's probably no place in America you can go to where somebody will take you in, like, "Hey, man, if you need some place to stay, I'm over here."
There's right now. I'm retired Special Forces from that. We haven't covered that yet, but there is a called Special Forces Team House, and if you're part of the association and stuff, everybody's registered in there, and they have a place to stay and stuff. There isn't anywhere I can't go across the country that I won't.
Yeah.
The door won't be open. So,
you can see
yeah,
somebody.
that's pretty cool.
So let's get into that more in the Special Forces component. So obviously there's a lot more training that you go through after we talked, you know, when you did Panama and then you came back in '90. So what was the ascension after that, as far as training goes?
Yeah, so after I spent about another year in Ranger Regiment, and then Desert Storm kicked off in 91, 91, and then 3rd Ranger Battalion got the lead on that. So we were going to sit in the wings. But then I knew some guys in Special Forces that were over there, and I was like, all right, I'm going to Special Forces. And so I went to selection and made it through that. And then I started mid-91, graduated in 92, and then I was assigned to 1st Special Forces Group back out in Fort Lewis, Washington with them.
Okay. You glazed over, you just said got through that. I want to get into a little bit of the weeds on, like, what does it mean to get through Special Forces training? Okay,
so there's a Special Forces assessment and selection, and that's about 2 or 3 weeks. I can't remember. It's been a while. And that's real team driven. So you're doing a lot of team events. How do you work as a team? Because Special Forces work in teams. So that makes sense. Very few individual events. And so you're tested and stuff, you're peered and everything. And then once you make it through that, then you'll get assigned a military occupational specialty, which will either be medic, engineer, communications, or weapons sergeant at that time. So I got communications, and then I got an assignment date of about 4 months later to go back now through the Special Forces qualification course, which, depending on which military occupational specialty, could last. The medics, obviously, they're short of trauma surgeons. It's almost 2 years for them of their training. So yeah, I ended up doing all the communication stuff.
Okay.
And then you get a language, which I got Tagalog at the time. So I had 6 months of that.
What is it?
Tagalog, it's Filipino language.
Oh, okay.
So in 1st Special Forces Group, there's Korean, Khmer, Mandarin, Thai, Tagalog. So there's a Hindu, there's Russian. So it was hard, because like 7th Special Forces Group, their AOR is Central and South America, so Spanish.
Okay.
You know, and it's pretty.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was a long process for that, which was pretty cool. Got to learn the language.
Yeah. How challenging was that for you?
Very, because I'm not even good at English. So.
When you say it was a long process, but how long something like that could take? Not just the language part, but all the training.
So just these are just prerequisites to even get on a team.
Okay.
So there's all kinds of specialties when you get on a team. So the military skills, plus it was probably about a year and a half.
Okay.
Yeah.
And where are you doing this whole thing?
Fort Bragg, North Carolina.
Okay, so you're living down there. During that time, could you be deployed at any point, or were you just strictly training?
No, just you're in a schoolhouse.
Okay.
Yep.
So so the next level of training, what kicks in after that as far as like the physical component of it? And I mean, are you still jumping on a regular basis?
Yeah, you're on jump status, so you're jumping through that, maintaining your jump logs and stuff like that, maintaining for jump pay, and then, like I said, you're gonna get assigned to 1st Special Forces Group or 10th Group, which I had originally. I wanted 10th Special Forces Group because two battalions were here at Fort Devens.
Oh, really?
And I was like, put me on. I'll be in Massachusetts. This is gonna be really cool. Yeah, okay, Okinawa. You know.
Oh, really?
Like
other side of the
right
world.
on. That's cool. Thanks, guys.
Well, you are just a number. You know that,
Yeah,
right?
Right. So I spent done probably 20, 30 trips with 1st Special Forces Group to doing what's called JSETs, which are training our meat and potatoes, training the indige and stuff like that, or counter our friends in other countries. You know, we go to Thailand, we train the Thai Special Forces. We go, you know, we get them up to snuff. So we did a lot of that in the 90s. Other than I think Haiti, nothing was really going on. Well, you had Somalia, but that was mainly Delta and Rangers at that time.
Okay.
But it was pretty quiet. A lot of QMP drawdown.
Yeah.
Under Clinton and stuff. And
Okay.
so it was a bad time in the military during that. And then, so I spent about 4 years in Fort Lewis, Washington, and I did 4 years in Okinawa. And then I ended up in Fort Bragg with a special mission unit for a little bit. And then I went over and I became a sniper instructor for Special Forces for about 4 years.
Okay.
And I did that for about 4 years. Then right towards the end of my 4 years, I got picked up for Master Sergeant to take a team. And that's when 9/11 kicked off.
Okay. Well, that's a segue there. So prior to that, you're kind of training. Suddenly, we're in the moment. We're at war. You know.
Yeah.
What? I know every special operator, I'm sure, was kind of like, I want to be the first one in, kind of a thing.
Yeah.
Where you were in North Carolina at this time?
I was a sniper instructor at the time, so I wasn't even in an active group.
Okay.
So there was no chance I was going to be. So, but the way you get picked up for Team Sergeant, the way it works in SF is 2 years Team Sergeant time, and then you're moving on. I was like, when this happened, I was like, well, the last time we did this, it lasted about 400 years.
Yeah.
So I opted to go Warrant Officer Program, which you become an executive officer on a team, so under the commander. And so I went through that, got that, and then I was transferred over to 7th Special Forces Group, which their area of operation is Central and South America. So I did that, and ended up going to Iraq, Afghanistan several times.
Yeah.
From there. So.
What was that? So is that the first time you were ever in country like that, in that Iraq and Afghanistan?
Yeah, I had prior to 9/11, I hadn't been in, because that was never in my my area of responsibility in the group that I was in.
Okay.
First group is Southeast Asia, so
yeah,
I never got to spend any time there.
Okay, so I think we were talking before we started the podcast, but you were working with SEALs and Delta. Were you doing communications with them, or what was your?
So that this type of unit I was in, worked directly with them, and augmenting them in certain operations and stuff like that. So.
Okay. So, I mean, were you part of the, going door to door? Were you involved in that stuff?
Yeah. So, especially as a Ranger, it's a lot of door kicking. You're doing that. Not so much in SF. Primarily, it's unconventional warfare behind enemy lines, kind of stuff like that.
Yeah.
When 9/11 kicked off, and then I ended up deploying, my specialty was, we were chasing a lot of our targets with technology means and stuff like that.
Okay.
A lot of the leadership got savvy on that. So you needed some folks so I had a component of Iraqis or with different agencies and stuff like that, that my specialty was to find out where you like to have your coffee in the morning.
Okay.
And I'd find you.
Okay.
So that's what I did for a while.
Were you a sniper at this time? I mean, you're a sniper, period. But
I was sniper qualified, but pretty much I was the guy that just drove up in the car, got out, and
okay. All right.
Because I found you.
What? what is I mean, every guy I think who watches everything and like, could I do that? At what point did you? I mean, obviously you're trained to do that, but at what point were you like, yeah, I got the muster to kind of get up and do this kind of stuff, or was it just like, this is what I do, this is my job, this is how it works?
Well, there's a good book by David Grossman. It's called On Killing, and a lot of those questions are answered within there. When you start getting into specialized, well, first off, there's a lot of interviews that occur, psychological evaluations and everything for these special mission units and stuff. So by the time you get there, they know who you are.
Okay.
Even if you don't.
Okay.
So, there's some flags and some dot matrix stuff that's put together, and they know.
So they'll look at a guy like you and say like, hey, Loiselle done the battery of tests. He's
interviews the whole 9 yards by psychiatrists and stuff, and they know you better than you do.
Yeah. Speaking of that, let's get off topic real quick. I mean, we had a real tragedy this week. Down at
Fort Stewart.
Fort Stewart, where individuals kind of, whatever reason, shot 5 soldiers, I believe, down there. Yeah.
Luckily, none of them died. That's good.
Yeah, that is good. And based on all the reports I'm hearing, like he was taken down pretty quickly. This could have been a lot worse than what it was. But it is, I don't know if that's related to PTSD or anything, but like PTSD is a real thing. First responders have it. Obviously, people in the military certainly have it. In your years of doing everything that you've been doing, how has the military supported you in your mental health?
It's good and bad. You can go down some rabbit holes doing this, and something like what's called the 22 a day. You're probably familiar with that.
Yep.
One thing that's never talked about is, a lot of people have some issues and everything like that, because we conducted warfare completely different than the history of mankind. There was times when, there was always the times, you'd get off the aircraft in Afghanistan or Iraq while your unit that you're doing a handover is getting on the aircraft. You're kitted up and you're getting on and you're doing 2 to 3 hits a night for the next 4 or 5 months.
Yeah.
That's just never happened. So
that
happens. But I think until we start looking at the psychotropic drugs that have been pushed down our soldiers' throats, I think that's the real cause of the suicide rates. Is because I went through that process for a little bit, and I identified. I was like, you guys don't know what you're talking about. Yeah. And you're screwing with my brain.
Okay. Interesting.
And it was really bad, and I was just like, because I was working with my dad at the time, and he was just like, dude, you are not you. And I'm like, I don't think so. You're right, Dad. So it's that stuff that they give these guys. It just rewires the brain. It's not good.
Really interesting.
Yeah.
Well, let's come back to that a little bit towards the end.
I wouldn't go so far as to say the guy in Fort Stewart. Now, some of the regular units haven't seen combat in any way in about 10, 12 years.
Yeah.
So they haven't been in theater doing anything like that. So this cat, probably E3, E4.
Yeah.
I think he's only been in a couple years. So I wouldn't even sign that with him.
Sure. Yeah. This, obviously, there's mental health in the civilian world, more than anything else. So, all right, getting back to kind of where you are, you're in Afghanistan, Iraq, you're kind of doing your thing. How many different tours or deployments did you have in that area?
I had about 4 to Iraq and 4 or 5 to Afghanistan, I think, and then in all different capacities, whether I was working with agencies or something like that, or not every one of them was kicking doors down or doing the operations I was just discussing. And in between that, I was doing. We had some hostages down in Colombia that we were dealing with, with the FARC and stuff like that. So I was spending a lot of time in the jungles down there.
So American hostages?
Yeah.
That you guys were going to
Yep.
look for? Okay.
Yeah, that's not fun.
I was going to say, that's going to be
I
completely...
I'll tell you what, God can take back his jungles.
Yeah. I mean, that's just got to be, I can't even wrap my mind around something like that, where it's just complete guerrilla warfare at that point, right?
Yeah, you're back to Vietnam. It's, you know, 1 minute you're all kitted up, sitting in Iraq doing your thing, and then you blow back, and then 2 weeks later you're flying down to Colombia, and you're just in jungles and
right.
Rucksack from Vietnam, and conducting operations the way they've always been.
Sure. Is it pretty common that, I mean, or known anyways, that there are operations like that taking place on a fairly regular basis that general public just doesn't
Absolutely.
know?
Yep. There's an entire command dedicated to that, which my last 5 years I served in. Joint Special Operations Command. We're doing stuff all over the world. And yeah, it just doesn't make the news.
Right. No, right. And I guess it probably shouldn't, right? Because people probably couldn't handle some of that. How many years total did you do?
26.
26 years. I mean, that's a pretty hard 26 years.
Yeah, I mean, what we have? We had Panama invasion, Kosovo, Somalia, Bosnia, Desert Storm, and the entire global war on terrorism. Mm-hmm. I mean, it's a heck of a run for Gen Xers.
Yeah, yeah.
If you're a Gen Xer, you saw the whole thing.
You sure did, yeah, for sure. How about the guys that came before you? How much did you lean on them for support, training, and or was it a completely different type of warfare?
Some of the basics stayed the same. I mean, the principles stay the same on any given situation. How you operate in specific environments is always fluid. But yeah, I had some guys in the latter part of Vietnam, Green Berets and stuff like that, that I definitely wicked smart on that stuff. So yeah, there was a lot of people are, you know, that just came in under GWAT. We're like, oh, you guys, Cold War guys and everything like that. It's like, well, the guys who started GWAT.
What's GWAT?
Global War on Terrorism.
Okay, yep.
Are the guys who were the Cold War era. So that Cold War era is the 80s and 90s. And it's like, well, who do you think were the team sergeants and stuff like that led the 13 soldiers?
Yeah. Huh.
The horse soldiers and stuff like that. So yeah, those were all Cold War guys. It started somewhere.
Yes, for sure. How, as far as being a Ranger, how old are the Rangers? When were they established? I mean, you've got to know all the history of that.
It goes back to Roberts Rangers, Mosby. So they've been on and off throughout our entire history. We had the Corps Alerts in Vietnam. So there was always a Ranger contingent in every Corps level unit. They did all the reconnaissance and deep reconnaissance for units and stuff. So, but then they got disbanded, and then they were started back up in 80 or 77, I think it was. And then they officially made it a regiment, I think in 83 or something. With then you had the blue light teams in Delta, and then you had the Ranger Regiment officially stood up and stays now. And now they're considered a Tier 1 unit. They're not going anywhere.
Right.
So,
Is this 75th?
75th Ranger Regiment.
Ranger Regiment. No. So, you know, each branch has their specialty, their special forces. Is Delta considered the highest level of the Army side of things?
As far as the most specialized with the most support, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. And then how often do you guys just work hand in hand?
Yeah, absolutely. Yep.
Yeah.
Primarily, yeah.
Are you, as a Ranger, if you're assigned to a Delta support team of some sort, and you said you were communications when you were?
No. When I was a Ranger, I was infantry.
Oh, infantry. Okay. When did you get into? That's when you were in the special operations. When you got into the?
It was communications.
Communications.
As a commo guy, communications guy on a special forces team. So.
Okay.
Yep.
And was that also working with Delta Force guys?
Not at that time, no. It wasn't until later on in a more specialized special mission unit that I was in that we were more working directly with the different special mission units, whether it be SEAL Team 6 or Delta Force or what have you.
So when you're working with those teams like that, you're all peers, right? You're all just kind of highly trained
Professionals.
Yeah, you're doing everything you can to support those guys. But I would imagine that when they're in it, you're in it as well too.
Absolutely.
Yeah, for sure. How many times, I don't even know if you can even answer this question, but how many times were you kind of like, this might be it? This is going to be a tough one.
Oh, yeah. Well, there's quite a few actually. But I've been fortunate. I haven't been in an absolute like knee deep in hand grenade pins kind of where
Yeah.
a lot of my good friends actually have been. We just had a guest speaker at my gala. I'm the president of this local Special Forces Association, and we had a guest speaker, Scott Ford, and yeah, he got a silver star and stuff like that. But when he gave the whole brief on what he did, I'm like,
Yeah.
I'm glad I didn't go through that.
A whole
you know?
different level, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, there's testing your metal, and it's like,
Yeah.
this is definitely it.
So you did all those years. You're in your mid 50s now.
Mm-hmm.
How do you transition from a life of that to civilian life?
Well, my dad, so I wasn't gonna, but my dad got wind I was gonna join. I was 2 weeks out from actually being reassigned back out in Iraq and Afghanistan with CIA, doing stuff with them. And my dad caught wind of it, and he caught up with me, and he's like, "Hey, haven't you had enough?" And I was like, "Well, yeah, but man, I'm gonna get paid now."
Yeah.
And he's like, "That's when you're gonna die." And I was like, "All right." So we started a remodeling company and
Yeah.
stuff. So I stepped away in 2014, big time. I mean, I have nothing to do with it, but I've had some friends reach out to me here recently, and so I just picked up on a contract to, which is going to be all stateside, but now I get to go back and teach
Okay.
sniper optics to Rangers and SF guys.
Okay.
On as a platform.
Is that like a side hustle, or is that going to be like your job?
No, that's a pretty good side hustle.
Yeah.
It's almost 6 figures. So.
Okay, that's sweet. A lot of traveling with that? You're going to be all over the place?
A couple weeks out of the month.
Okay.
So it'll be a 2-week trip here, a 1-week trip here. It's all from Alaska to Florida to anywhere in between stateside. So
Yeah.
yeah.
So, like you said, transitioning from your world that you lived in for 26 years, you said?
Yeah.
To the civilian world. Initially in 2014, was it difficult? And did you miss the camaraderie? And
I would say I didn't think so, but a lot of folks around me probably thought differently.
Yeah. Well, you probably
So-
never, right? You're in the heart of the
Nah,
storm.
Yeah, no. I mean, so you go from tip of the spear and everything you do to like,
Yeah.
I'm just
Right.
kind of standing around here now. Where's my cock gun?
Right.
So yeah, there was it was definitely different, and maybe I could have handled it better in some situations at times than some folks would like, but I think I'm through that now. I'm good.
Yeah. Well, it's been, 15 years, no, 11 years that you've been out,
Yeah,
right?
it's been about 11 now.
Yeah. So going back to kind of what I was talking about before, as far as like how the military supports people, who have seen a lot, as far as your mental health, and do you feel like you're in a good spot now? Do you guys support? You lean on other members of the team to talk about things?
So there's a lot of organizations like VFWs, the Special Forces Association I just said, and then the VA where I'm up in northeastern Tennessee, in Johnson City, is probably one of the best VAs in the country. So there's that, they're on it, and the Special Forces community really helps out folks too. So there's the Green Beret Foundation and
Yep.
stuff. So there's a lot of stuff that you can reach out if you want to. That's the thing,
Sure. Yeah.
if you want to. So.
Yeah, well, it's just like anything else, right? Even like, I work in the law enforcement world and corrections, and unfortunately corrections has the highest suicide rate of any law enforcement division because, number one, a lot of people just don't understand what happened, what it's like working in an environment like that. And number two is the media portrays corrections officials in a certain way, and it's typically a negative light. So the general public has a negative feeling, so you really don't, I rarely tell people that I work in like if you look at my social media profile, it doesn't mention anything about working in a correctional field. But it's a division that really needs a lot of mental health and mental health support. And not that, I'm not comparing anything I do to anything you've ever done, but
I'm sure there's some times in, in corrections that's you're like, there's good days and bad days.
Yeah,
for
for
sure.
sure. And you're dealing with a lot of mental health and substance abuse and things along those lines. And a lot of guys and women will self-medicate themselves, to kind of deal with that. And I would imagine that in the special forces, or even just the military in general, that's why there's the 22, and we talk about that.
Right.
Whereas people are self-medicating in many ways, and divorce and trauma and all those things kind of all add up. So thank God for people like you, right, to do the work that you guys do, because it's really important work. As much as we don't want to talk about it, in the media doesn't want to talk about it, maybe things need to happen. There are bad actors in the world, and
that's more people need to realize that
Yeah.
there's it's a different animal out there.
Yeah.
You might have, wherever your little bubble is, wherever in the United States, and you think differently. There's people out there that are keeping things from happening here. So whether it's law enforcement or military, or intelligence agencies and stuff like that, it's happening 24 hours a day, 7 days a week.
100%. So let me ask you this regarding the global war on terrorism. Talked about that. I mean, terrorism has been around since the moment people stood up and started walking. It's just been since we transitioned like that. And a lot of is a lot of it still faith-based, where it's kind of like, okay, I read this verse and it must mean this, and another group is reading something else and they interpret it in some way, and
it's more of a way of life, because it's the government. If you go to most Islamic countries that are governed by Islam, it is how they govern how they govern their lives, how they govern their day-to-day activities. It's an all-encompassing. So it's not really a faith-based deal. It's more of a theology or theocracy. Theocracy, I think. Yeah. I'm losing the word on that one. But where it totally encompasses, and there is nothing outside of that. And the Intifada is a real thing, and where this is something, like I said, we did this for about 400 years before, and I don't feel like we're going to end it anytime soon.
Right. The answer's not around the corner, right?
No.
There's always going to be somebody else to step up. And it's, you take out the leader of, no matter what you're talking about, even, in the Western world, take out the leader, there's somebody there to step up that might, have a similar philosophy or a completely different one that's even worse.
What used to call it whack-a-mole in Iraq and Afghanistan. You just hit that guy, this guy pops up. They'll make more.
Yeah. And it continues, right? I mean, here we are, still in the midst of it all. A lot happening. Maybe the temperature's even a little bit higher right now. And we can talk. Everybody's got opinions, whether Iran or that region over there has been at war since forever. Like you said, more than 400 years.
Well, that was just the Christians versus Muslims. Was the 400s, the Crusades and everything like that. That was 400 years. But yeah. I don't know. The 1970s, Afghanistan, it was westernized.
Yeah.
Iran before the Ayatollah.
Was the Shah.
The Shah. After the Shah.
Well, during the Shah, he was a friend of America.
And it was westernized and stuff like that. So the script has been flipped.
Yeah.
So more the ideologic deal there. So I don't know. Maybe we just back off, I guess. I don't know. Be a little less.
Yeah, I don't know.
Involved,
I mean, certainly,
as far as that goes, and just be the shining city on the hill, like someone once said. And if they want to aspire to do that, but if you think you're going to go over a nation build, it's not. It hasn't worked yet.
Totally agree. If you could go back to talk to Drue Loiselle in 1987, would you tell him we're going to keep this path, or would you consider something different?
Do it again.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was pretty cool.
Yeah.
I mean, there was times I couldn't believe I was getting paid for what I was doing. But there was other times you couldn't pay me enough to do that
exactly.
again. But I'd do it again.
Yeah. Any advice you'd give yourself?
Don't get married.
Okay. Okay. Wasn't expecting that.
No, because I'm not good at that. So so I'm strictly speaking on my own behalf.
Yeah.
Here,
No, that's.
Drew, do not do this.
Okay, that's fair. That's a fair one. That's awesome. Wow. I mean, it's been. I mean, we've been friends. We all kind of went our separate ways, and thanks to social media, really, you kind of get to see people
are
again.
Like, oh my God, you're on Facebook, and I was like, I would not have any contact with anybody here if it wasn't for Facebook.
It's true. That is very true.
Thanks, Jeff Zuckerberg.
Mark Zuckerberg.
Mark Zuckerberg.
Yeah. You got Jeff Bezos and Mark Zuckerberg.
Yeah, there you go.
The other gazillionaire out there. And the good thing about that is you get to see what everybody's doing. But the bad thing is when you have high school reunions, nobody goes anymore because it's like, well, I know what
I know
everybody's doing. I don't have to
Right.
go.
Especially if you live in a town like this. half the folks meet up where we're going to meet up here
Yes.
almost all the time. So it's like,
Yeah.
hey, you want to get together? And like last week?
I know. Exactly. Yeah. I know. Well, that's cool, man. Well, it's good to see you. I'm glad you made it through. How about injuries and stuff like that? How's your body after all this?
It's very crepitous.
Yeah.
Yeah, I went through the physical and stuff like that at the end for disability and everything like that. And I was like, all right, mark this off, mark that off. And then the VA didn't even argue. I was at like 480%.
Yeah.
I'm like, they didn't even argue with me? How messed up am I?
Yeah.
And I just I had some x-rays in my shoulders, and because my front deltoids just burn all the time.
Oh, yeah.
And so I was getting cortisone shots. So they took x-rays, and they're like, you broke your collarbone like 4 times. How'd you? And I was like, really?
Really?
I'm like, yeah, all right, cool.
That's what adrenaline does, I suppose.
I
Right?
suppose.
How many jumps do you have under your belt?
So I got static line, maybe about 75, but about 800 free fall.
Yeah. What's the highest? You've done a halo?
Yeah, 37,000.
37,000 feet you jumped out at?
Mm-hmm.
How-
Nighttime, combat equipment,
Yeah.
O2, obviously.
How long of a free fall is that?
Well, when you're jumping at that altitude, it's we call it a HAHO, high altitude, high opening.
Oh, okay.
So after about 1,000 feet, once you start transitioning,
Oh.
you pull your canopy, and you could be about 120 miles away.
Yeah,
from
you
where
could
you're
float,
gonna
you
land.
float in there, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, so those are pretty cool.
That's probably the most peaceful time, right?
Yeah, well-
because there's no, because when I've done it, you pull that chute and it's just like, it's really quiet up here. There's no noise or
No,
anything.
that's nice. There was only one time you couldn't pull a grease bobby pin with a John Deere tractor on my butt, and that was in India in '94. I almost got hit by a Russian version of our C5 Galaxy.
Oh, yeah.
It was in
By
middle
the
of night.
plane? You almost hit
yeah,
the plane.
Yeah. It was in the middle of the night, and it looked like a shark coming through the water.
Yeah.
And I was like,
How do you steer around that?
I got nowhere to go, and because I was in the flight path,
Yeah.
and they forgot to shut down the airport. So
Yeah.
that was fun.
Okay. All right. Jesus. I could probably talk to you for like 4 more hours, and more stories just going to pop up
Yeah, there's a few.
in your head. Yeah.
There's a few.
Wow. Well, dude, thank you for your service. Seriously,
Right
and a guy from town. Like I said, I don't know how many special operators we got from Ludlow that
I'm
kind
gonna keep looking.
went out there. So if there are,
Yeah.
comment on
Yep.
this below. Yeah, I'd love to put you in touch with Drew, and you guys can kind of see where they are. I do know a couple guys that attempted the SEAL training but didn't finish it.
Yeah.
There's the physical component, but there's also you got to be a smart dude. You got to know all those.
You gotta have that.
Yeah.
That's what it is. I've in all my selections I went to, guys who never played an ounce of sports
Yeah.
or anything, you couldn't break them.
Yeah.
You just couldn't break those guys,
Yeah.
and that's all it takes.
They say, you look around and you're like, oh, there's the star wrestler, star
yeah.
football player.
Oh, no, I went to one selection with a linebacker from Iowa State. Mm-hmm. He's gone in a week.
First one ringing the bell, right?
Yeah,
To get out of there.
Yeah, he's out.
Do you guys have a process like that where you ring the bell, or do you just aren't there anymore?
No, you just drag your duffel bag over.
Yeah.
You just
Walk of
do the-
shame.
Yeah, you
Yeah.
do the walk of shame. And some selections you don't. You show up and you're like, oh, I guess he's gone.
Yeah.
No bunk is empty.
Yeah. I mean, it's remarkable. You start off with 100-something guys and you finish with like 17 or so. That's pretty remarkable. So, all right. Well, hey, man, thanks. Welcome back to town. I know you come back to town periodically.
Yeah.
You just finished. You and your wife are here, or
Yep. Yeah.
wife,
Girlfriend.
Okay,
Yeah,
I wasn't sure.
Or best gal.
Best
like I
gal,
like to
exactly.
say. Yeah.
But you guys just did a whole tour of kind of like I saw you have an Arcadia. You're all over New England.
Yeah. But those darn Canadians gotta go keep burning. I didn't get to get any great pictures. But
Yeah, we've had some Canadian fires that
next
we're
time.
dealing with. So yeah, next time. How often do you come back home?
I try once a year or once every other year and come up and do the round robin up here and stuff.
Yeah.
Just to keep touch. My daughter lives over in Southwick,
Right.
so there's a reason to come up. I was up here last February, I think. Yeah, last February. I was remodeling her house.
Yeah, I think I saw you. Yeah, I
Yep.
hooked up with you over here at the Iron Duke.
Yep.
And that's where we're going to head right now, as a matter of fact. So,
Right on.
all right. Well, again, thank you for your service, and thanks to anybody out there who's served in the military, certainly in the special operators world for sure. That's going to do it for this week's show. If you haven't seen some of the other ones, I do have a YouTube channel. It's Riverwalk Talk with Chip Harrington. I have all the other shows on there, but mostly this is shown on social media, Facebook and Instagram. So like, comments, if you have future shows you'd like to see, let me know. All right, take care.
Thanks, buddy.
Yeah, man.